from my understanding, is that this was consensual. She was in it to win it. And it just happened to be adultery. So like, why would you think this is a Me Too issue?
Because the same thing could be said with Weinstein for some of them, not all of them, obviously,
What?
but some
No,
of them
Weinstein was a
Oh,
rapist.
wait.
I
Sorry.
didn't make that
Since
comparison.
I
we're
didn't
in
know that.
Yeah,
All right,
straight
then
up.
the ones that topic one, Ime Udoka and Brett Favre, both sports stars, have been mired in scandal during the recent weeks. Ime Udoka was suspended as head coach of the Celtics because he had an affair with a woman on his team. Brett Favre is suspected of stealing millions of dollars from the Mississippi welfare system for his own purposes. These scandals erupted at about the same time, but sports media is being criticized for disparity in coverage. They believe that the focus on Udoka was unwarranted, as the lack of coverage on Favre been indicative of some sort of racism, or does this all make sense due to the nature of their controversies? Yeah, so it was I personally don't pay attention to sports drama, right? Not unless it has some like wider implications, but like this, they were both really big, and it seems like there was, and you like the story the article that I read like show like a graph. There's like a great disparity in interest in the two. And I'm wondering like what's behind that. A lot of people have different theories as to why that's the case. So yeah, we'll start there. Bam, introduction.
Yeah. I think it doesn't surprise me how these situations ended up playing out, but in reality, like Brett Favre, when the Ime Udoka situation came out, I had to say who? Like, oh, the Celtics coach. I remember, like, and I'm a general sports fan. I didn't know his name, but Brett Favre is a Hall of Fame quarterback, multi millionaire. I'm talking like net worth in the hundreds of millions. I'm pretty sure, and the fact that he was stealing money to build a gymnasium from freaking like from oh crap, I can't think of the word. But like
From
basically
the
the
welfare
most
system.
needy. Yeah, from
Yeah.
the welfare system, like is literally insane. Like not only should this be a story, like there should be charges. Like this man should absolutely, and I know it's not just him, but like this man should do legitimate jail time because of this. And people have gotten like 40 years for like lesser crimes. Like the idea that like there hadn't even been any charges pressed, and this is just like ooh bad Brett, no, like a slap on the wrist, and we kind of just moved on from it is pretty insane. Like if you actually think about it, but also par for America, specifically Mississippi.
All right, Josh.
Sure. Yeah. So, do I believe the focus on Ime was warranted? Absolutely not. Rich people cheat on themselves all the time. This isn't very new to wealthy celebrity culture. What I do think the conversation should be have about is how we received these two news stories. You have one, Brett Favre embezzling money from Mississippi's poorest residents and using it to fund the building of a sports complex, and two, Ime Udoka, coming off a fantastic season with a world championship caliber team, cheats on his movie star wife with a member of the Celtic staff. When you view it from that perspective, the reason why Ime received more coverage is pretty clear, because you don't even have to know Ime's race before you can decide which story would probably get more coverage, especially in a time where most people in America, I think it's 60%, get their news from social media. That is not to say I don't know which story is more important. Let me be clear for the people that did not hear me. A famous former NFL quarterback coordinated with an elected official to take funds from not just Mississippi's poorest residents, but some of America's poorest residents. And to me, that is unjust, immoral, unforgivable, and has no place in our democracy. Thank you.
Much. All right. Let's go to Watakai.
So when I look at these two stories, the main comparison that I see would be one seems more like a tabloid story. The other is a legal issue. So when it comes down to tabloid things, and I'm going to say I heard a lot more about who was it? The guy from Maroon 5 cheating on his wife. I heard a ton about that and a ton about this. I didn't even know. I don't care about either of these individuals, but very little about Brett Favre. And I would say it comes down to investigations, news gathering, other issues. So I would say the disparity between the two would be between one being gossip and the other one being an ongoing legal issue.
Okay, thanks so much. And let's go to Isle, please.
Okay. In the battle of oopsies, I think Brett Favre takes the cake. You should, never be afraid to let your voice be known. Speak to your politicians in your local area to affect the change you want to see in the world. I'm totally for that. But, from what I read in the article, it seems that Brett Favre may have been a little bit too close with a little bit of too many people who had an eye on the welfare funds that they were supposed to have for the state for emergencies and welfare. And I think that that is obviously not good because these people really need it in times of crisis and times of emergency. Now, to be fair to Brett, he said that he didn't know that the money he was asking for was going to be coming out of the welfare fund. But then again, I think that's on him to do his due diligence to, if he wants to see if he can find, wine and dine some politicians to get some money thrown his way. He should be sure that he knows where the money is coming from and what that money should have been going to otherwise. Um, with the head coach of the Celtics, I think that is more of a Me Too type of tabloid sleazy reporting, and I think that lots of people, let's be honest, lots of people just like sleazy things because it's just entertainment. People like to put people on a pedestal and then tear them down for the entertainment to see the huge mess at the bottom. And so I think that you know, Ime did a really bad whoopsie as well because he knew on his contract, and, because in this post Me Too world that feminists are getting like all sorts of like very hyper vigilant about men and women getting together and having a good time. So, he should have known that if he was going to cheat, he should have been cheating with someone outside the organization because that was against his contract. He fucked up. He got found out. And when you fuck around, you find out real quickly that there's going to be consequences. So, I mean, I can't say that I'm sympathetic to either man, but I think that Brett Favre is clearly the one with the bigger issue here.
Okay. Interesting. We're gonna jump on those some of that later
like
on, but open to the
50-50 here?
panel. Huh?
Are we like
Yeah.
50-50 here?
What do you mean?
Like we're split. Like it seemed like Josh, you and Kai were like pretty. Like you had a bigger issue with Brett Favre, but you seem like you understand why Ime was the larger story.
Sure,
Right.
yeah.
Me
For
and
sure, Brett Favre is the bigger problem. I would say the thing with Ime is not even worth mentioning, to be
Yeah.
honest, because these celebrities screw around all the time. They pay for it. They have understandings with their spouses, the whole deal. But then all of a sudden, the public catches wind of it, and now we all got to hear about it.
Yeah, no, and to Al's something Al said, like the idea of Brett saying he didn't know, he has text messages on the record of him saying, like, "There's no way this can get back to me," right? Like, there's no way people
It
can
doesn't.
figure out.
It doesn't even matter that he didn't know. I mean, to jump on Kai's point that this is a legal matter, the fact that they're misappropriating funds from some place to another, it doesn't matter. It was going from the welfare recipients to the funding of a stadium. It doesn't matter. It's the misappropriation of funds through a non-legal manner. That's why Brett Favre's situation is so devastating, because now we see people with access having a back channel to these politicians, and that's something that shouldn't happen in politics, because the politicians are supposed to be in office and doing the work for the people, and not just famous NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I agree, and it sucks because and this is completely off the top of my head, but I would be shocked if Brett Favre isn't one of the 5 richest people in the state of Mississippi, like period, like. And the fact that like you would take money of all people for whatever I don't know, I just that's ridiculous. And the fact that and it's not just him, he's just happened to be in a situation that was unworthy and got caught up. But like this happens, I'm sure, all over the place over and over again, and I don't know, it just really bothers me
But when I
because.
look at that,
No, I was just saying because, like, again, the other situation isn't really much to talk about. Like, a consensual situation happened. Like I said, it was an infidelity. Like, I understand him as a head coach being a big representative of the brand. Like that's obvious to me. So I understand the Celtics bringing some type of hammer down. I don't even think the entire season is like really justified from it. Like I don't know. I just think that everything related to that situation is weird.
Well, it's not necessarily weird because we live in a post Me Too type of world where we understand that, if you're the head coach, you have a whole lot of power. So if you're having sex with a staffer, there's reason to be alarmed and critical of it. And so,
Well,
she
she
should know
wasn't
this.
just any staffer. She was pretty high up there as far as I've heard.
Yeah,
Even
she's
more
like one of the
so.
head trainers.
Yeah, even more so. So that means she had something to lose.
Well, I don't know. Like, I I'm not necessarily sure that's what Me Too is about. Like, Me Too is about when yeah, like yeah, I mean, it's definitely not what Me Too is about. Like,
Well, I
the Me
think
Too movement was
Weinstein and
about like
people
I think,
unconsensual.
yeah, I think it was consensual. The
Yeah,
relationship
it
between
was a
Ime and the
consensual thing.
staffer.
It's about
Yeah.
unconsensual sex by like with powerful men, pressuring them into these things, and that like women not being able to respond, like women not being heard when they're trying to bring these things forward. From my understanding, that this was consensual. She was in it to win it. And it just happened to be adultery. So like, why would you think this is a Me Too issue?
because the same thing could be said with Weinstein for some of them, not all of them, obviously,
What?
but some
No,
of them
Weinstein was a
Oh,
rapist.
wait.
Sorry.
Made that
Weinstein's
comparison.
I didn't
rape.
nod at that.
Yeah,
All right,
straight
then
up.
the ones that weren't that were consensual is the ones that no one's concerned about. We're concerned about the rape of Weinstein.
Yeah.
So then why
I mean,
did you
there,
associate this?
I mean,
Hold on, hold on. Why did you
sorry.
associate this with Me Too?
Well, because
Can I help you out a little bit?
No, I'm
Oh.
curious. Why did you
Sure.
associate this with Me Too?
well, the reason I did was because, I just thought, it's like a story about impropriety. And so I said, I thought, on my first read that that's what it was leaning towards. That's what I did.
Yeah, it's a story about
Okay.
impropriety. Me Too isn't about impropriety. Isn't simply impropriety. It's about people being like assaulted, being
The ultimate
forced into
impropriety.
yeah, like the ultimate impropriety. Yeah, these things aren't the same thing at all. Like it's weird. Like you're blaming this. You're like talking about because of the feminists. Like this might be an issue. Not really, right? Like people realize that within the context of work, that's where people meet like their spouses, right? People date their coworkers. It's a thing that happens. And sometimes within the bosses, the boss subordinate dynamic, the problem is less that dynamic exists, but more that like it can be a toxic dynamic, and like you got to like declare these things, And he wasn't going to declare it because I mean he's cheating on his wife, which was like the real problem here. But like you have to like declare, let the company know these things, right? Have these things out and open and transparent, and no pressure. None of that, as far as I mean, at least there's no concern about like pressure here,
No,
right? It just was in the dark.
Well, specifically like that made me think of like a typical business in the NBA that like that's definitely you definitely can't do it. You're dealing with way too large levels of money. Like even if you like do it consensually, like they wouldn't allow it. She would have lost her job and probably still is if I'm not shocked about this
You mean
situation.
with a married man or just like
No, in general. Like
Yeah, you have to sign.
the NBA is like a brand that doesn't play that. Like I remember it was which this is to a smaller potatoes, but I remember a player who got like half the team's cheerleading squad fired. He was laughing about it, but it was because
Damn.
he like came on to them. And
that's different. The cheerleaders
Yeah,
are different.
that's Me Too.
We talking about NFL? Like I don't know about NBA.
no, it
But
was
like
NBA.
okay, well, so all right, well then I don't know. Maybe NBA treats their cheerleaders as badly as they do with NFL, but they have like these very conservative and strict and like just anti-labor rules around cheerleaders specifically. Like cheerleaders, like their contracts are just garbage. I don't know enough about the NBA. Maybe it's the same way, but I don't know. But the NFL definitely, where like if there's a consensual relationship that's happening, yeah, they'll fire the fucking cheerleaders, not the players. Wait a minute, how does the player get to walk away from this? No, the player is fine, right? If he fucks around. But like if the cheerleaders like even like go near the fucking locker room, then it's an issue for them and not the other way around. It's extremely disgusting, the way they do it. But
but
yeah,
it's
I
still
don't know about the
because it's the players that bring the eyes and the seats in
Yeah,
the
yeah, but
stadium.
hold on, but Ime Udoka, was the person who like led them to a fucking championship, like Udoka, whatever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I
But
think he's being fired, is he? I think he's just being
No, he's
he's being
suspended for the
suspended.
season.
Yeah, I'm
Suspended for
saying
a
that
year. Might as well have been fired.
you can equally discipline them though, right? Like if this is a problem, then it's a problem on both ends. Why is it the woman got to get punished? That's like fucking more me too. Like you can imagine a person being pressured.
But we got to talk about we got to talk about the power dynamic though between the rich famous coach coming off like NBA championship and just like a Celtic staffer. I mean, you got to recognize that there is an obvious power imbalance there in terms of
We admit that.
Yeah, but I think that's towards Isles' point that maybe even if it was consensual, maybe the woman might have felt pressured into the relationship due to that power imbalance, or is that wrong on an assumption?
Yeah,
We
people
had
have discussed things like that all the time. Like it's a real
Yeah.
it's a real issue of like, okay,
Yeah.
she did, like she never said it was a problem, but then your question is like, what would have happened if she did say it was a problem? Like how does that situation play out for her generally in this type of league? Like I said,
Well, we don't-
likely she loses her job.
Do we hear from the woman?
No,
we
I
hear
don't
from-
think she's ever went vocal. Like she cheated on her
Yeah.
husband too, but I don't think she's made like I don't think either of them have made.
Yeah,
a
I
big
think she
thing.
was with somebody who's like high up in the organization.
Okay.
Like I've heard certain
Yeah,
things
you know
about
where
this,
it's
but
at?
she
I wasn't sure about that. I'll look.
vice president of I don't know. I really need to look into this because I didn't really look that far. But uh bottom line, it was consensual. We don't need to think about Me Too in this. It was more so two people cheating on their spouses, and they didn't want that coming out. Nobody was going to sign the agreement to disclose this. It's just bad all the way around. He really screwed up.
Yeah, they screwed up. And so you have to find, those the consequences for screwing up on something like this. And so maybe it's not a Me Too, type of story, but I think there is something to be said about, having the appearance of impropriety, especially when you're on that level
So I'm gonna ask it.
of notoriety.
So I'm gonna re-ask it actually. Do you think this story received more coverage due to Ime Udoka's race, or just through the sensationalism of the story?
I think it was. I think it was part. I think it was a bit of both. I think it was his race because he was a black man who was, getting his time in the sunshine and in the spotlight. But I also think that they said, what's the fastest way to get him out of here? Is a Me Too allegation type story where they could cancel him for seemingly sexual impropriety.
Also, I just want to clarify that Ime Udoka isn't married to Neil Long. I think they were
Yeah, they're
just dating.
fiancés.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
But, like
fiancé.
they were
have
they were
kids together.
engaged.
They have kids together.
Do they?
Oh, do
As
they
far as
really?
I heard.
I haven't heard about that. I think they were just
sure
dating.
they were married.
Oh, that's
but I
even
could be
worse.
wrong. Yeah.
I mean, I think they were engaged. I don't know if they had children. I don't think they've been together long enough for that. But again, that could be wrong. It looks like the person's name, her husband, her name was Kathleen Nemo Lynch, and her husband's name is Taylor Lynch.
Yeah, she had a kid in 2000 with him.
In 2000.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Shocking.
Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah,
go
the
ahead.
husband, the person's husband isn't related to the organization. The person he slept with.
Yeah, I was going to retract that. I just looked that up. She has a Wikipedia page.
Okay. Yeah.
always
So
like-
I don't know. I don't. I guess we can just get into it. Like I don't think it was necessarily a problem because that like he was her boss. Like I think that's I'm saying like ethically, I think that's fine. Like you can do that. But like it has to be like stated. And I don't know the NBA's HR like habits, like their HR routine. So you might be right, Bam, that like maybe they just don't allow that, like period, like in terms of boss and like subordinate. That could be the case, but a lot of corporate structures they allow it to happen. You just like you got to let them know, and then like they can't like maybe sometimes they'll just move them from under you. Like they can't report to you.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that might even be possible there because he's the head coach and she's like the runner. I'm not sure if that's even a thing. But in any case, like it has to be known, right? Like the company doesn't want any fucking surprises like this shit, right? You can't do that without the when you're cheating, right? So he was cheating on his fiance. I thought they were married, but whatever, right? That's the problem for me. But like to say that it's worth necessarily is that worth firing a person over, right? Is that worth this like media frenzy? I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think, I even think suspending him for a year is insane. Like because him and the owner of an NBA team who just got caught saying like racist stuff. I think it's the owner of the Phoenix Suns just got caught saying some racist shit. Like just the other day, and he also got suspended for a year. So there's no congruity or like balance of punishment here. I think they're just flying by the seat of their pants when it comes to punishments.
I don't know what suspending an owner. Like I don't know what that. Like I don't know what that looks like. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
No, he was suspended for a year.
No, I mean
Yeah.
I believe you, but I'm just saying like tangibly, like they say like, oh,
I have no
What does
clue.
that affect?
I'm like,
I've never
Yeah.
owned an NBA team. I don't know how that works, but
maybe you can't be present at a game, I guess. But like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's that, but like whatever. Like I'm a
Yeah.
fucking billionaire.
I'm
so
still gonna get paid from it. All the money that
Yeah.
comes out is still going
I'll
to
watch
me.
it at home. Yeah,
yes,
I guess.
that makes the punishment on Ime Udoka, I think, even worse looking, right? Because he's just an NBA coach. He's not worth $1 billion like some of these NBA franchise owners are worth. So, well, I mean, what's the suspension to the Phoenix Sun owner who's worth like $4 billion? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But year suspension of Ime Udoka is like that's money and food on the table. Well, I don't
The
know.
other thing
He's
they
probably
do-
richer than that. I don't know
No,
his net.
The other thing they
Sorry.
do is like like for owners, like when it's like really bad, they'll force them to sell, right? Oh, you'll force me to take a few $1 billion. Oh no. Like or multi-million dollars, whoever the franchises cost, right? Like you're gonna force that into my pocket. Oh no. Like,
Whatever will I
They're
do?
definitely
How
$1 billion
will I
franchises.
recover?
yeah.
But no, I think it's pretty excessive anyway, just because this dude already has to go through the breakup, dealing with possible court proceedings. His life is going to be in shambles, and he's out of work for a year. That's foul.
Sean
Just 'cause
Watson
you
got
had
like 4
impropriety.
games.
It ended up going to 11.
For
He
what?
got 6 originally.
Or like
Or,
that's so crazy.
He has a serious problem. He ended up having an issue with like 26 masseuses like asking for happy endings.
So yeah,
He's
so
just consistent.
I mean, yeah, the punishments in sports leagues need to take a strong look at because I think they're not like consistent at all, and we need at least some consistency in how we're punishing these people because most of the people who work in these organizations or generate revenue for these organizations are black. So like for like an NFL and NBA organization, most of the moneymakers are black. So I feel like the punishments need to be at least somewhat consistent, right? Because they're affecting people who look like us.
And speaking to the Deshaun situation, freaking Robert Kraft basically did the same thing on a smaller scale. Got caught with literally dick in his hand, and I think they may have got like $2 million fine, like which like what's that to a billionaire? So none of this stuff is equal. None of this stuff is legitimate. But I will point out, I guess it's sort of against my point. Like I think the Brett Favre situation is much more should be talked about way more. But what have we been talking about the last 10 minutes?
This is what I wanted to say earlier when you were speaking. So when the George Floyd phone police footage came out, people were mad. So all this outrage happened, and I have a lot of conservative family members. When they got the actual police footage, they were even more mad because they felt they'd been lied to with the footage that they got from the cell phone camera, which is stupid. And they were wondering why the footage wasn't released sooner. And I had to explain to them that had that cell phone footage not been available, or had not been available, we wouldn't know about the details of the George Floyd situation until the police body cam footage came out in the first place. So with this, there's still an investigation going on with Brett Favre. How much can the news really say? You're liable for what you say that's wrong. So that might be why we're not getting as much coverage until we actually have some sort of verdict on what's going on.
Well, without the cell phone footage, we just never would have seen that footage at all. More than likely, like that situation might have like
Also
went away.
possible.
I'm actually a Heat fan, so I enjoy shitting on Ime Udoka like as much as possible. So, but I'd love to talk about more of the Mississippi thing because that's batshit insane to me that this is allowed to happen in America. Like, that's crazy to me, and especially people in Mississippi. Like, that just hurts. That hurts.
Do you
So
believe there are
much.
going to be
People all
charges
the
coming out
time.
of this?
That's why
Yeah.
black people should stay out of Mississippi.
Yeah, I think he
One of them.
embezzlement's a crime, and he appropriated funds through illegal manners. I definitely think Brett Favre and Phil Bryant committed a crime.
I
For
do
sure.
too, but I'm saying, do you think there will be? That's my thing. I'm like,
Like charges?
Yeah, I feel like
There
I'm
will be
surprised that
charges.
if there haven't been any yet. Like,
Well,
I don't know. Like, I feel like they have enough to press charges, even if they're still gathering information. Like, the fact that there hasn't been anything, like, it makes me like they're.
You're
like,
you're breaking up pretty bad.
your mic's not your friend today.
It's
Me?
not. No, it's not his mic. It's also his video. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi or something? Like, you've been having trouble for a while. With
Oh
your
crap! I
like,
did not know that.
even when we're on VC, you've been having some trouble with that. Are you on, like,
So-
yeah? If you're on Wi-Fi, maybe that might be the problem, or I don't know.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know.
Did you guys hear about the Red Power Ranger?
What about him?
Which one? There's lots of them.
He is facing up to 20 years, the very first one. Austin St. John.
Okay.
He obtained more than $400,000 in fraudulent PPP loans and faces a
shit.
potential sentence of up to 20 years.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
these
they're-
things do get prosecuted, even if you
Well,
have money.
They're cracking
It's
down on
also-
those PPP loans.
Oh yeah, for that.
Yeah, he
but-
took it fraudulently.
Yeah, I
That's
feel
why
like,
you have an accountant and a lawyer.
but
I
the
wanna
most
say it's
powerful
similar.
people tend to like not get away. Like Brett Favre is a lot more powerful than like Austin St. John, right? Like he's
True,
not
true.
like those people aren't on the same level. And so like I feel like it seems like the governor of Mississippi, the current governor of Mississippi, is trying to like sweep the whole thing under the rug, and like it protect the past governor of Mississippi as well. So like I don't know. I feel like this is an easy thing to move
And-
past for them.
And it's not just like the appropriation of funds to Brett Favre's cause. They found out like through Brett Favre that Phil Bryant, the governor of Mississippi, had been misappropriating other funds as well from this welfare or whatever program. I'm not sure the exact program they took it from in Mississippi, but he's been appropriating funds for like say like I think he gave money to like a famous fitness instructor for a new physical therapy station, like stupid stuff like that should be going to Mississippi's poorest residents. So it's no wonder why Mississippi. Yeah, I feel like I'm shitting on Mississippi, but
Do it more.
but it's no wonder why Mississippi has some of the poorest residents, the worst education in America. Like it's no wonder why, because they have corrupt politicians and corrupt people in office, just misappropriating funds from them 24/7. But yeah, hear your thoughts.
Am I still bad?
No, you're good right now.
You're good.
Let me know if it messes up again. I just think that it's also interesting knowing that like Mississippi is what I think the state that has the largest percentage of black people, like per capita of the state. And then they have all these issues like what's going on now in Jackson with the major water crisis. They had the other
Mhm.
freaking water crisis. What was the other city that had the water crisis? Oh no, that was Michigan.
Yeah.
While Brett Favre is taking their funding.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're dealing with the poorest of the poorest people, the most people that look like us, and then we also hear like, oh, they have some of these heavy levels of corruption for because who cares about those poor blacks? I don't know. It's just so on the nose. Disappointing.
Super on the
Yeah,
nose.
and-
But still, why are black people in Mississippi? It's like historically one of the most racist places in America. Yet there's so many of us still there.
'Cause it was one
Black
of the,
people,
they had all the
please, if you hear
plantations.
me, get out of the South.
They still have the Confederate
love
flag in their state flag. I think that's
I mean,
Mississippi.
they put up statues during the civil rights period just to scare black people into knowing their place. Why do you want to stay there?
They don't have money to leave.
Yeah, they can't leave.
But I don't know.
Do
I
what
love
you
the South.
can, anything to get even to the Midwest. You're better off even in the Midwest, and I don't say go there either.
Not if you're trying to flee the Klan. Isn't like the largest, like the further you go Midwest, the more Klan members.
Now I would think it'd be more south,
Yeah, I think
but
it was
You would
all
think
the
that,
same.
yeah. I think actually Illinois has the
Like
largest.
Appalachia, but their clan, like from the last documentary I saw, their clan population is in sharp decline. So I'm really not sweating them.
for sure.
I at some point Washington is number one, and then Pennsylvania was like, I don't know. There's a lot of hate in places like Washington State. Yeah, a lot of places got a lot of hate. But in any case, should the sports media be concerned about like a former star? You know, like Brett Favre is a famous one. I famous enough for me to know his name, and I don't pay attention to sports, right? So that means it's pretty famous. But he like quit the NFL, excuse me.
Same thing.
Oh, same thing. A long time ago, right? So should sports media like be so concerned about like a former player?
He's a Hall of Famer. He
Absolutely.
the
It
face of
means
the sport
nothing
for
to
2
me.
decades.
I think this news story should be shouted out from every news source available in the United States, because again, this is batshit crazy, and it doesn't matter if it's a former NFL player, current NFL player, or future NFL player. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, we wouldn't ask this question if it was Michael Jordan. Like, and Michael Jordan can be retired as long as he wants to be. If Michael Jordan does something like, yeah, we should probably pay attention.
The only reason we don't put Michael Jordan in jail is Space Jam.
Bro.
You just can't now.
We gotta let him sell good shoes.
And the shoes, but it's not about the basketball. It's about Space Jam and the shoes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think your point on Michael Jordan is well taken. But well, Brett Favre isn't Michael Jordan, right?
Nope.
Like,
Close. He's not. Tom Brady would be the equivalent.
Brett
yeah, I
Favre
guess,
is not
yeah.
close to Michael Jordan. Wait a minute, I will fight you on that. Brett Favre is not close to Michael Jordan.
Brett Favre was the literal face of the NFL for 2 decades.
Brett Favre?
Yes, he's still top 3 in every statistical category for quarterbacks.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he was the face of the NFL. You know, in the year, like in the time of Tom Brady, where Tom Brady was the face of the NFL, like I just don't see it. And Ray Lewis,
Brett Favre.
Because he wasn't cheating like Tom Brady.
People love the Packers. Nobody cares about Wisconsin. Why do you think the Packers are cool? Because of Brett Favre.
I don't know. I think I disagree with you.
Lil Wayne loves the Packers.
Oh, like I'm going to take anything that Lil Wayne thinks is right on face value.
Lil Wayne is sometimes right about things.
Broken clocks are right twice a day. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen to Lil Wayne on anything.
I mean, he was right
Again.
about Trump, and Trump came through for him. So I think
He was
safe.
right about Trump. No,
Yeah.
that was exactly the reason why you don't take advice from Lil Wayne.
Exactly. But yeah, not to.
If you
like I
want
said,
your
not
country to
say-
fall apart, sure.
What? How? In what way? In what way?
In what way?
I'm not going to entertain you talk Trump tonight. The night I'm taking a night off from Trump.
All right, cool.
Can you
But-
really do that?
In what way?
You can't take a night off from Trump. Trump is everywhere. Trump is all things.
Hopefully he's in
Okay.
jail.
We have our friend Smooth with us. Hey,
Ah,
buddy.
y'all gonna see
This
me.
dude said 10, 15 minutes.
Bro, dude, man, my job is trash, man.
Heard that.
But thanks for being here, buddy. So we're deep in the first topic. So what are your thoughts on the first one?
Okay, so first of all, hi y'all. I'm Smooth.
Hey.
Hey.
But I don't think this should have been public information. Like I totally disagree with that. Like they should have handled this in-house. And I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot of being able to potentially ever bring him back as a head coach, because now you've devalued your own coach. I'm like, this guy just took you to the finals. Now you really can't bring him back. And for him agreeing to stay, I think he also like it's a hit in that as well. I think they kind of wanted to put him in a lose-lose situation by doing this. Like, you can't leave, you can't come back either. But I really don't think it should have been public knowledge. I think the Celtics organization handled this poorly. And they put a bunch of women in the crossfire that didn't even need to, because a bunch of women were getting harassed and saying like, "Oh, you're the one that he cheated on me along with," when he never did anything with any of them. It was a freaking VP of whatever section wife. So it just
Can you enlighten us on that? Who was she married to?
A VP.
I just
VP
looked
of
up. It
the
looked like the dude's
organization.
not related to the organization. I mean,
Like,
maybe
so
used to
he was
be.
either vice president of sales or vice president of
So I'm confused because I never found out, like in articles I read, they didn't tell me like who this person was. So can someone
Yeah,
tell
I did
me?
research too.
They show the person. I just couldn't nail down what her husband did exactly. But I
But is
heard
she
just
part?
like,
So she's part of the
Her Kathy-
organization.
yes.
Kathleen Nemo Lynch.
yeah,
That's the name of
by
her.
happen chance. So it's just like, it's the same way as, what I'm saying, like your girlfriend is part of your streaming career. Like, what I'm saying? Like, she's just associated with you.
So hold on. So what you're saying is that
Is
like
she
she's not
employed?
a employee of the organization.
No,
They're
she's not
saying that
employed. She's not employed at all.
No, she was Celtic staff.
It was
she
Celtic
was
staff.
staff.
Mhm.
Yes.
So they hired the VP's wife as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. A lot of
Sometimes you
nepotism.
can have
Yeah.
people in your family that can also hold a job. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to ask
If
Smooth
it's
a
good enough for
question.
Trump, it's good enough for the Celtics.
Yeah, true. Why not?
Yeah, go
Smooth.
ahead.
They're confident at the job. That's fine.
It's nice to meet
Yeah,
you,
go
by the
ahead.
way.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so say you're the owner of the Boston Celtics organization. How do you suspend your coach for a year in silence? How do you not keep that from getting public?
You say due to behavior unbecoming of like due to disciplinary ops, like you kind of just frame it like very generally. Like he did something that was a violation of team policy. We're suspending him for a year. So that lets you know it's something severe without telling anyone what exactly happened. Because this
Yeah,
is
but
none of our business.
that just leads to like innuendo and suspicion.
I
and
mean,
we'll
yes,
probably-
I think ESPN's gonna find out either way.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, it does lead to innuendo, and it does lead to speculation. However, the organization will then have handled it correctly. You know what I'm saying? And all the parties involved can get their shit together before making it a complete storm. And now you got a bunch of women being harassed. Like, they're terrible people.
And this kind of stuff has been happening since sports has been around. There's been scandal after scandal. They just didn't talk about it then. Now that we're in the age of information, you can't keep that stuff under wraps anymore.
And people are gonna want to find out. I feel like you're actually doing yourself a disservice if you don't tell the public that kind of as much as you can about the situation, because I feel like if you are hiding any information or keeping some things private, I feel like it would be looked upon as you're hiding something, or you're and I think it would look even worse on Ime and the Boston Celtics organization.
Josh, let me do this though, right? If they wouldn't have said anything, right, we wouldn't have known anything. They could announce this closer to the season starting. This happened like 6 weeks out from the season starting.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it was
like
team staff
that's
who
kind of
released it?
crazy. Like if you want to replace him, you know what I'm saying? Okay, cool, do it, replace him.
I don't think they wanted to replace him.
Yeah,
I think it just broke like team rules, and they just had to follow a procedure.
No, they wanted to replace him because it hurt some. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, there's an exec that woman is married to. His feelings is hurt.
Okay,
Yes.
I just confirmed that. Look,
He
I
wanted
just
him to hurt,
Can y'all hear me?
and in that
Yeah, we can hear
process,
I just wanted to confirm that. Okay, so I just
yeah.
need to
Oh,
look.
Bam.
That's not the case. He's not an
Can y'all
exec.
hear Bam?
He is a team. Well, he was a oh crap, I just read it off like 7 seconds ago. He's not actually an official person of the team. He was a consultant They used him for consulting purposes. I don't know necessarily
Y'all can
consulting
hear
about
Bam?
what. I guess Smooth
Did
can't
you?
hear me.
Can you guys not hear Bam? I can hear Bam.
I
hear
hear
him.
Bam.
I
Who
can't.
cannot?
hear
Sorry,
them.
who cannot hear him? You can't hear him. Okay. Bam, leave the Discord and come back in. And I'll be there in a second. I'll pull him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, speaking on to clear dead air, I mean, speaking on his point, I mean, in my organization, I know we treat consultants that we work with as part of the organization, as our organization. I think that's just HR policy. Is you treat like consultants as part of the organization in terms of like harassment and sexual lawsuits and stuff like that. So I feel like the argument still applies since she was a consultant. I don't think it matters if she directly
she
worked
wasn't.
for.
She was actually team staff. She was
Okay,
she was
got
a
it.
team
I didn't know we
service
were
manager.
clarifying.
Yeah, she was a team service manager, which basically she handled like traveling for family. Like, so if you wanted your family to come somewhere, she made sure like handled lodging, tickets, like for games, stuff like that for all like players' families.
Hey, Bam, this is sick. That means she was
Yeah,
in
she
charge.
gave
She was in charge
Nia
of the
Long.
move. Nia Long, like she bought Nia Long tickets to come out. Oh, so that woman is sick.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's literally what it talks about in the article. Like, she probably was the one responsible for like them relocating to Boston, like making sure getting their tickets for every game. Like, this woman was like probably dealing pretty directly with Nia. Like, hey, you got your stuff, games over here, flights at 7. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure they had some like level of communication. But yeah, the husband was a consultant.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't nail that part down, but I knew he'd worked with the team in some way and was important in some way. I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
I know this part is unimportant, but I'm gonna ask anyway. You pretty? I don't know what she looks like.
She's
I don't know.
No.
Imagine a mid-30s Mormon white girl with like 3 children.
Man, she's mid-30s. She looks
imagine that. Why'd you
40,
make me imagine
45. She looks
Send me a
damn near
picture.
50.
Bam, just send me a picture. Or
Someone put it in the Discord.
She's 34.
She don't look no 34. She look aged.
That's what Mormonism does to you.
Damn.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being Mormon.
Now we're hating on Mormons. Let's go.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being Mormon. But Smooth, since you shared your thoughts on the Ime Udoka situation, how do you feel about the Brett Favre situation?
Okay, so Brett Favre. All right, I'll say so. It's a duality, right? So on one hand, I'm like, yeah, why is ESPN not covering this? Because God forbid anything happened to Michael Vick and he already in the Hall of Fame, they're gonna drag Michael Vick.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring him right back into the spotlight, and they've done it with other retirees, other people. So my question is, why is this Brett Favre situation, which is egregious, wrong? He's stealing from disabled people, right?
Yep.
This is nuts. He stole millions.
I mean,
to build a stadium.
Prime asked it before. Should we care about former NHL players when we spent our last stream talking about Herschel Walker for like half the stream? So we should absolutely care about.
No. I said sports media. Like, should sports media care about a person who's not currently obviously like anything could be a news story. Like, doesn't matter like what section they are. Like, anything can be a news story. But like specifically, should sports media should they have enough interest as a NBA coach, an active NBA coach, a winning NBA coach, right? Should those things actually be equal there? And for the record,
so
it looks pretty cute. I don't know what you guys are talking about. She looks pretty cute. But anyway, go ahead.
So for the record, right?
Why are we comparing women? That's not fair.
No, okay, yeah. Forget the girl, okay? Forget the girl, whatever, right? But I wouldn't do it. But anyway, forget the girl. The main thing here is when those retirees have a birthday, they talk about them. When those retirees that are out of the game, you know what I'm saying, they try and get back in the game, they talk about them. If they become a coach or anything around the game, they talk about them. Birthdays, let's see.
Birthdays,
I mean, even I'm trying to think of the guy that's out of the NFL, and he did something absolutely like insane, like something that was wild.
Marshawn Lynch.
I think
Antonio Brown.
No, Marshawn Lynch is a great man.
But it wasn't anything.
I mean,
necessarily like he did
was really bad.
but he wasn't
Recently, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown as well.
Yeah.
No,
They
that
still talk
DUI
about
was
these
pretty
people.
bad.
Michael Jordan. Yeah, when Michael Jordan does something, they still talk about him.
Said it.
All right,
Did
fair enough.
say it.
I think Michael Jordan's impossible not to talk about. I mean, I don't know. I think he's just an
But it's
amazing guy.
principle.
Sure.
It's principle, though.
Hold on, you think
It's
Michael
principle.
Jordan is an amazing guy?
Amazing basketball player. Let me clarify. Come on, Prime. Don't put me in a corner like that.
You said it.
Yeah,
I asked it. I just
did say it. I did say it. I'm a Jordan fan. I'm sorry,
The man, a
Okay.
businessman.
but
Can't take that from him.
I'm a fan of his on court actions only, and I will not stand for any of his off court activities.
Oh, home record.
He's probably Michael Jordan is probably a better human being than Kobe Bryant. If
Better
we're- at the
human
end
being
of
than
the day.
Brett Favre.
I don't
Really?
know.
How?
Kobe was doing a lot. Kobe was
We
doing
let's
a
not
lot
forget
really bad.
Kobe did have a pretty resounding allegation out there, and most people did forget that. We don't talk about that, but
Oh, I just didn't believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
but
no,
Yeah,
okay. That's
I don't
interesting.
believe it.
That's
So-
true.
Okay, all right. Oh man, we're about to get into this. So Kobe had the rape allegation against him, and that one it was
my God, he's
it was
dead.
pretty
Come on
messed
now.
up. And like if it happened after the Me Too era, I think it would have been handled a lot differently. I don't know. I don't fucking know if it was true or not, but like it seemed like that there was a lot of evidence against him. They just kind of like swept it under the rug, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But like, was he a better person than Michael Jordan, who was like a fucking bully and
up.
who like didn't care about us, like made his teammates like lives like utterly miserable the entire time?
What about Michael Jordan?
I think one rape.
Michael Jordan punched one of his teammates during practice.
I guess the thing that I hear you, Bam, right? Like,
Shout out to
I
Steve
guess
Kerr.
the thing that I'm trying to distinguish is that it seems like a Kobe Bryant, all right? Like it seemed like there was one incident, and pretty bad. I don't remember even the details of the incident. It was like hard for me to judge. But like, and if you have more details, maybe you can share it with us because it's so long ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm saying.
But like it was an incident, but like Michael Jordan was an ongoing like disaster of a human being. And he
Fucking
like
menace.
like rather like so I'm like comparing one incident, and to all that, and a person who like refused to support the community, who didn't give a shit, only cared about like his basketball shoes, right? Like he's like
Prisons.
he seems like a like a psychopath, right? Like a narcissist psychopath.
Yes.
But Kobe was on the same path. Kobe just
He was-
said
No.
He was
Kobe
mirroring.
was outside.
Kobe was a terrible
outside,
teammate.
He was Kobe outside. He was just a loving father, bro. Outside of it, like in them Kobe docs, like you can just see it. Like he just a loving. He just hung out with his family. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying I don't think Kobe was really big. I don't think Kobe was really big for the community and the court. I don't feel like that was him.
Your
And
mic's
like,
doing it
if
again.
you want to talk about if you want to go to like Michael Jordan
Your
was an
mic's
awful
breaking
teammate,
up.
he was a bully. It is. Is it? Am I
Uh,
peaking?
It's
I
like
don't
it
think so.
does like
You go
the
robot.
scramble thing, when
I
it,
think it's your own connection.
I think it's the connection. It's not the mic. It's the
Yeah.
connection. But and
Internet.
it comes in and out, right? So like it comes in waves. But you were clear at the end. So like try to get it out there. It's like Michael Jordan's a bully.
Oh no, not Michael Jordan. I was talking about Kobe. Like Kobe was also a bully. Kobe was like he used to say terrible things about his teams to get more out of him, but because he kind of believed in Michael, he was like, yeah, that worked. We won championships, so I'm gonna show up to the gym before you. I'm better than you. Like, and I don't respect you because you ain't working hard as me. Like I don't respect none of y'all. Like that was Kobe's, and Kobe's like, I'm not gonna pass to y'all because y'all don't deserve it because I see y'all at practice. Like teammates did not like Kobe Bryant as a like
Yeah,
the
but
player
that's hold on, that's
or the
different.
person.
That okay, so I hadn't heard that, but from your description, that sounds different from Michael Jordan, who like he didn't care. It wasn't like about people's skill. He just like actively wanted to make people's lives miserable, right? And actively wanted to like attack people for just I don't know, just for existing in the scene. Like he just like did whatever,
Wait.
right? And he could do it. He was just like, but that sounds like a person, right? Like from again, what you just said, like I don't know anything about that situation beyond what the sentences that you said. But in terms of the Kobe situation, it's like, well, I want better for my team. You haven't proven yourself to me, right? So like, be better, practice harder, right? And then we'll have more of an interaction. But until you like get yourself to that level, I want to win, and so I'm gonna like take it to the hole, or I don't know, whatever they call it, right?
That
That's
was good.
Okay.
It was fine.
No, but that's Prime. You summed it up quite nicely, because that's literally what Kobe was. Kobe was just about winning, and as long as everybody was doing what they're supposed to do, everything's all good.
But they wasn't. He didn't respect you. That he had nothing to fight
I
with
don't know,
Shaq
but that's
As a
no.
person-
He respected people
Yes,
when
him
they
and Shaq
did what
had
they
a
were
falling
supposed
out.
to do.
because
Bam
he didn't
can
believe
maybe-
Shaq worked. My
Bam
bad.
can maybe talk about this a little bit more, but I feel like part of being a good teammate is encouraging your teammates and just being good to your teammates in general. I feel like both Kobe and Michael Jordan are awful teammates because of the outcomes of both of their teammates saying, "I had an
5
awful time playing with
championships
them."
and 6 championships. You're awful. You're awful to your teammates.
Yeah, you're awful to your, you
Now,
can
you
you can
push
win
them to
a lot
the
and be
place that they
awful to your
wanna be.
teammates. No, I mean you can
meanwhile,
win
you got
a
LeBron
teammate.
James. You got LeBron James losing most of his, and he's over there kicking it with everybody. I think
Who has more
I'd
assists?
rather be MJ or Kobe.
Who has more
Yeah.
assists?
A menace.
You can have assists and lose. He's not making
you
his
can win and be
teammates
an
better.
Who's the better teammate though? If we're talking about, if we want to bring
He's not making
LeBron
his
in,
teammates
And be an
better. You're
asshole.
talking about them being a player. I'm talking about a teammate off the court. Off the court, you're turning up too much. They're kicking it too much. Kobe was like, "Look, I'm not going out with y'all." And the one time he did go out with somebody, he went out with them and then made them get up for 4 o'clock practice. He said, "That's the only way I'm going out with you." So he went out, turned up with them, and then made them get up for 4 o'clock practice.
Damn,
He
I do
said he
the
was
same
puking his
thing.
guts out.
That's
I feel like if
crazy.
you make your teammates' lives miserable, I feel that makes like just the overall your overall team morale go down, and I feel like that would be just a net negative on your team. I feel like both outcomes are the same between Michael
He's
Jordan
pushing
and Kobe.
discipline. Kobe
Yeah,
was pushing discipline.
yeah. So
That's
like,
it.
yeah, I
He's
think
like, do your fucking job. You
I
get
think I
paid
agree with,
$30
with
million.
Smooth here. Not that I would behave this way. I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. But
Like, wait,
I-
it's like I play. I'm sorry, Prime. I play a lot of Valorant, which is a team-based shooter. Yeah,
But not physical.
Everyone knows who Valorant is, or what Valorant is. Sorry, but I feel like what Kobe did is he's the guy that has 30 kills and he's whatever losing or whatever, and he blames like the weakest link. I feel like that's what Kobe does.
No. What Kobe did was, his problem wasn't necessarily losing. His problem was, what were you doing before the game? Because if you never practice, like if you're on a team playing Valorant competitively, and your homie tells you that you're on the team with, "Yo, I haven't played support in weeks. I've only been playing DPS, but I'm gonna run support for you." That sounds insane.
That wasn't the standard though. Like Kobe got mad that you practiced exactly the right amount of time that coach told you to
Y'all
practice.
pissed off GSU.
Like you showed up on time, and he's like, "Whatever you doing? I've been here 2 hours, and I'm coming back." Like after the break, I'm back to shooting. Like Kobe had insane. Like Mamba mentality is a real thing. That man had same standards for everybody. He respected no one as a player. He didn't think anybody worked hard enough because they didn't work as hard as him. And that's literally what happened with him and Shaq. Because he always called Shaq like big and
This
fat.
sounds-
And
Don't get me
This
wrong. I'm not
sounds exactly like the circle jerk that was going on during the Predator filming with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bill Weather, all these people that are bodybuilders, and they're all trying to get up earlier than each other, so none of them see each other working out, just to say they're working harder than anybody else, and I don't have to work out to get this. I'm just this big. Like it's ridiculous. It's a freaking pissing contest.
I think the reasons why matter. Like again, like I was trying to say before, I don't necessarily. I wouldn't behave in this way like Kobe Bryant. I would be more the encouraging one, like Nutella's talking about, right? Like I think that's a better way of doing things. And like, hey man, like I noticed you're having trouble in the court. I feel like you got a lot more potential. You know, like let's see what we can do to get you there, right? You know, and people look up to you like that. But in terms of destructive behavior, right? Like I can get it when you're saying that like I'm gonna enforce like discipline. I'm gonna get excellence, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it by like pushing you guys to the limit, right? And if you aren't up to the standards, then like no, you don't get to participate as much, right? Maybe you are gonna be warming the bench, right? Like putting that kind of pressure on them, like be better, okay? And you're not gonna like it. No one's gonna like it. They're definitely not gonna like it. But like that's a different thing from just like wanting to torture people. I think that matters. So that's why I would say Jordan is a garbage person. Which is a shame because as a kid, well, not again a kid who didn't even like sports, but like, Jordan was put up there as a person, as a role model, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jordan's great, I guess. I like, yeah, that's my favorite sports player. I don't care about sports, but he's my favorite sports player. And like he seemed like a hero, with Space Jam and all of that. And then I only found out like after college, like way after college, that this guy was a terrible human being. So yeah, this is news to me. Bab, turn off your cam in Discord. It's like circling. But my friend GSU is gonna be here in a second. He's got.
Is he gonna come to roast me or something?
I think he's gonna come for all of
us. He has
us.
pushback on the Jordan. He has pushback on the Jordan
I think
stuff.
everyone's getting it at this point that talk bad about Jordan or Kobe.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you guys in the terms that intention definitely matters. I think Kobe definitely had better intentions for his teammates than probably Michael Jordan did. I think I definitely can agree with you there. But I think the outcome, and you're both in both situations, and like their teammates having either horrible morale or just losing confidence altogether, I feel like is both indicative of a bad teammate.
Well, yeah,
No.
I mean, and Jordan had the same. Like Jordan off the court was pretty chill. Like he practiced extremely hard. He thought you were like nobody worked hard as him on the court.
Yeah,
but
he's just an introvert.
He was going, but at night I don't think he was an introvert. That man stayed at that. No, Kobe. Yeah, I thought I was talking about Michael.
Like, okay. No, you said
Michael
Kobe.
was really hard on the court, but like after the game, Michael was going to the casino. Michael was hitting the cigars on the plane. Michael was Michael partied pretty hard.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
What's up, GSU?
What the hell is happening, dog?
What's going on?
What y'all done?
This is what happens when you don't come through, right?
What is slandering?
You made this. You made this.
GSU, I'm a big fan, bro.
Was officially invited to All Black everything, and it was approved. What is happening? Niggas are saying Kobe can possibly rape this woman, that it was pure consensual sex, and everything points to it. She didn't even want to testify in her own case.
No, I don't think
there is nothing about her case that was credible. Absolutely nothing, including her not wanting to testify.
Also, the semen samples.
No.
Mention the semen samples.
Jordan was some bad human being just because he had like a otherworldly competitive spirit. There's nothing about Jordan that just wanted to do people wrong. Jordan wanted more out of people than possibly they could give him, but that has nothing like this. What is happening?
No, Jordan had an artificial chip on his shoulder that made him like hate everybody. Everybody's against me. Everybody trying to like he would like start fights with people just to motivate himself. Like his motivation, like it was internal, but it wasn't really internal. He like created external factors to like motivate himself.
To say that,
and look what happened.
He was one of the biggest competitors of all time, in that he antagonized people. Potentially sometimes his own team or other teams, makes him a bad player in a sport. What is happening, dog?
Who said he was a bad player? We talking about the person.
I would expect these takes on the referee. What is going on, bro?
And these
I need an explanation.
Hey, don't badmouth the referee. Hold on.
We're talking about basketball. We're talking about basketball savants here. The top 0.0001% of basketball players. Of course, we're gonna have these ultra competitive people like just coming through the NBA. Like, of course, that's gonna be a trait among these people because they are just the top echelon of athletes. So I think both. I don't know where I was going with the point of that, but yeah, both situations are just indicative of the fact that these people are basketball savants, basically.
LeBron don't got to, and I'm not even a LeBron fan, but I respect that LeBron is an amazing human being. He seems like legitimately, like either he has one of the best like team of people to hide and stuff, but LeBron seems like just an absolutely fantastic person and an extremely
amazing. Just like Jordan, just like Kobe, yeah, they're all amazing people, man. All pretty amazing.
Very different people.
Can't
Um,
believe what my ears
he,
were hearing, bro.
but there was a case. I'm literally like on the Wikipedia article because like I don't remember. I can't make any definitive statements about the Kobe Bryant case because a long
Wait.
time ago, and I
was, like,
wasn't too
4.
deeply involved in
But
that.
you do.
But like
you
he
do
says,
agree-
it says like if she refused to testify, but there's a separate civil suit, and then he publicly apologized to his accuser.
He-
So
he-
Yep.
Yes, he
That's part of the conditions, bro.
he apologized because like it was his wife and shit involved and the kids. I think he might have said some shit. I don't even know what his apology was to her, but at all points, at all times, he was like, "Yo, this bitch is lying." Like he may apologize for having sex with her because he was a superstar or some shit. I can't remember all of those details, but the idea that white media was demonizing this man from the time that he got into the league to a fake rape case, and that somehow Kobe Bryant skated by on a credible rape case in like 2004, 3, whatever you. Like, what is happening, dog? Like, what's going on?
Well, the
Because
primary
wasn't like Vic
detail
like the
that was
next
kind of
year?
a
I
gift.
think they was salty. And once Kobe
Yeah.
got away with it, they were like, "We're not letting Mike Vic off. We got to get somebody."
Well, look what Vic was
Damn
doing. But I'm
dogs.
saying with Kobe, you had evidence that this woman had been with multiple people that evening. So she was basically making her rounds and decided to do what she did.
He was
on
definitely
Kobe.
trying to just get money. I can't remember all of the details, but I remember
That was
how
the biggest
outlandish it
detail.
was. And like the important thing to note is I was even a Kobe Bryant hater when that shit came out. I hate it because my favorite player, he had beat us a few times. I literally hated Kobe, like literally hated. He was one of my most hated people on planet Earth. When that case came out and you looked into anything in it, it was like, yeah, this bitch want money, like bro. And I don't even call people bitches, but like fake rape cases, like that's some different level shit. Like that's insane. Like,
Yeah, I mean, without the information, whether I'm not going to speculate whether Kobe actually committed the crime or not. But I think the conversation would be interesting. We talked about in 2022 if Kobe committed the same act. I think Kobe's out of the league right now. I think he gets Me Too'd and is out of the league, regardless of whether the woman was actually telling the truth or not.
yeah,
I think he's Kobe Bryant.
The PrimeCayes friends community would get anybody out of there. It doesn't have to be a credible allegation these days. For
It
sure.
really doesn't.
No, Kobe.
Yeah.
If you're Kobe Bryant, if you're like some like dude
Even
that
if
comes
you're
off the
Kobe
bench in
Bryant
just 7
now.
minutes, but like no, yeah.
In the time of Me Too, I think Kobe is like fried.
Again,
bro.
And he's
Deshaun
black.
Watson isn't even the best. Like Deshaun Watson is one of my favorite players because he went to Clemson, but like he's not even the best quarterback in the league. And like I said, there's 26 allegations. And
It's the NFL. It's a little bit different than the NBA. NBA is a little bit more progressive than the NFL.
It is, but I still don't think he's out the league. He's worth way too much money.
Or suspended for an indefinite amount of time. I mean, or pushed out of the league. Like I think there's definitely some harsh punishment. There's definitely, I think there's gonna be some harsh punishment.
Hold on, bam.
Keep it real.
Bam. Hold on, wait 1 second, Smoke. Bam. We live in the country that locked up Bill Cosby with no credible evidence. Like, what do you mean that Kobe wouldn't be out of the league?
I'm not on your side.
There's no way. There's no way Kobe survives that. Like we're talking about like rape.
Bam, you're on mute. Or is your what's happening?
I'm effed up again. God, what's happening to me tonight?
I saw your mouth moving, but I couldn't hear you, so I just assumed you was on mute. But
I'm sorry, I used that. Are we allowed to use the R word?
Retarded?
No, RAP.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
You've been using it this whole time.
We've been saying
I'm sorry.
That's a good job for asking.
I know. But sorry, I've just been saying it. I've just been saying it. I just wanted to clarify. But yeah,
we can also say murder. Like I don't know. Like
I was just asking, just in case I don't want to get your.
We could say genocide. We could say lots of things. Yeah, it's fine. Just like don't say slurs.
The PrimeCayes friends community is banning people from saying rape.
No, no one is doing that.
No joke.
So like I'm reading this article, not article. Well, yeah, this Wikipedia page,
Let me pull up
and it doesn't sound as cut and dry. You guys are saying it is. And like, this is like, wow, this is. I feel like the case seems a bit a little disgusting, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
he swung by the room and smashed and left. Like,
now,
but that's what
Okay, so here's the thing that you guys don't understand, right? Like, you guys are doing the whole forcible rape meme. That's what you guys are doing.
No,
Saying
no.
that like it
I
well
think any
it,
rape allegation is
hold
going to
on,
get
hold
you
on, hold on, hold on. Let
Right.
me speak.
Go on.
So no problem. You're doing the whole forcible rape meme, and that like, okay, well, if this is a thing that a woman had to go through, right? Well, then she would have acted differently. She wouldn't have done those other things, right? Like she would have, like you should have been more distressed. When from the accusation that and I just read this Wikipedia article, right? It seems like what she says, like she was bent over a chair, right? And he was hitting it from the back, and she told him to stop. Said, "Please stop," or I don't know exactly what she said, but please stop.
So-
like, I don't want to do this anymore. Hold on. Please stop. I don't want to do this anymore. And he like kept on going, right? And like that was the rape. That like it was like forced on her. So like what this sounds like to me was and I don't know if he like and she said she was kept in the room, right? So I'm not sure like if after that like he kept her on and like finished when she just like wanted to get out of there, right? Basically she like put a hard stop, right? And he like blew past that, and that would be the sexual assault.
Yeah.
And women go through those situations all the time, right? Where like they tell a person to stop and then they just keep going. They consented to the sex, right? He didn't like drag her in by the hair and smack her around or anything like that. She consented to the sex, but then she wanted it to stop and he refused to stop. And then when she left, right? I don't know if she actually, visited another man. She's saying she got dirty underwear. That's
fucked
why.
somebody after she fucked Kobe. Just to be clear.
Yes.
Did she? Did she? But like it from the Wikipedia page, it says that like she like they found semen basically in the panties that she used and like someone else's pubic hair. But that doesn't mean that this was the day after. That doesn't mean that was the same panties or anything like that she wore that night. It doesn't mean that it was even hers, right? She said like she just grabbed the dirty pair of panties and just like went with it. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Hold on, Gambit, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Real fast.
And even if it does, that doesn't mean it wasn't rape, right? So like in the case of in the case of a person who's a sex worker, right? A case of a person who's a sex worker and then just experienced the rape that I just described, they could go to another person, right? Like because they still got to work and have sex with them, and that doesn't mean that the first thing wasn't sex.
Okay, all right. Gambit, correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't this the same lady that had the text messages with her friends come out and she was bragging about it at first? She was bragging about it. She's like, "Oh my God, y'all won't believe who I just slept with. I slept with Kobe Bryant." She was bragging to her friends. She was bragging about having sex with him. And then turned around and was like, "Yo, I need this money."
I think when that report came out, that's why she refused to testify, because obviously that was going to come up in the case. Yo, you seem to be pretty hyper happy about smashing him. Like, what's going on? What made it unconsensual? Like, so Prime, I want to level with you. I agree with you that there are lots of women that have rapes committed against them because they consent to the act, and then at some point they become uncomfortable, and then they're like, "Hey, I want you to stop," and then the person doesn't stop. For sure that happens. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying that this bitch didn't do that. This bitch was smashing on the regular and was like, "Yo, I'm smashing Kobe. That's what's up." That's exactly what happened. There's nothing that came out during that time that wouldn't.
And what state was this in? Can we also keep in mind what state this was in? Yes,
Colorado, right?
They would have railroaded Kobe if they could have.
Wait, so are you denying that the woman said stop and Kobe kept going? Is that
not.
Oh, I was talking to GSU.
Hold on, I'm sorry, say that again.
Yeah, are you denying like the factual evidence that Prime just
that isn't necessarily factual evidence.
That's anecdotal evidence.
It's anecdotal evidence.
Her side
It's not. Yeah, it's not factual. It's just like her side of the story.
Anecdotal, her factual truth.
Which part?
not-
though?
it's not
I
back-
want to make sure I know what I'm answering.
Stop.
Her truth.
Her
It's
saying
never
stop
factual.
and him
Her-
keeping
That was her
Hold on.
testimony. That was her.
Her
Hold
truth.
on.
Her
Her
truth.
truth. Are we talking about the underwear thing? Or are we talking about her being bent over the chair and saying, stop? Which part of it are we talking about?
Yeah, the second one.
She was definitely fucking lying. Yes, I'm denying that.
How do you know that?
rape. It'd be rape if I accepted that. Because there's nothing that came out that would lead one to believe the opposite. I think she had
What
multiple
evidence?
I think she had multiple messages wanting to smash him. She was definitely a chick that was smashing people on the regular.
Mhm.
Some other evidence came out that I can't remember right now because we're like fucking 50 years away from this. But all of the evidence around that was like, yo, this is kind of a groupie that likes to smash celebrities.
What
And she
evidence?
smashed
What evidence would you need to change your argument?
evidence,
Actual
anything,
evidence.
almost anything.
A maid coming was outside the door, heard her yelling "stop." Someone in an
I mean-
adjoining room, like some sort of physical evidence, something, anything.
Yeah, almost anything. It's almost a barrier. Yeah, but
Okay.
there's,
But the
there's
thing is,
literally.
I
she didn't want to go to trial.
I'm just asking.
Another reason why
Yeah,
she
I
didn't
mean,
want to go
her
to trial.
testifying at the trial, like it's not just the things that we don't have; it's also the things that we do have. Her smashing people on the regular, her smashing celebrities, her. I can't
That
remember.
has nothing to do with anything smashing.
No.
Yes,
It
yes,
does.
if you
It
take
does
one
in the
thing- hold on,
context of
if you
you're-
ta-
You're
hold on.
talking character.
Hold on. I was in the middle of talking. If you take one of these things alone, of course, Prime. That's why I'm stating the case and I'm naming multiple things. This is a part of a like litany of different things that are against her. So yes, her being promiscuous alone, you can't say, "Yo, the chick is promiscuous. She didn't get raped." No, that'd be wild misogynistic. So that's not
Okay.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in concert with the messages that she had with Kobe, I do think what Smooth said was true, that the message came out that she was bragging about having sex with him. And then there was something else that happened. I can't remember right now. But just all of this stuff and her not wanting to testify in the court case. And I'm reading through the thing now because it's like bringing back stuff. Yeah, she like wrote the investigator saying, yeah, I'm sorry I lied about some of the shit that I told the police. Like there's multiple things that make her a non-credible person.
So hey, okay. So
misogynistic right here.
what would you say? Al?
Hey, you go, Al.
I was riffing on GSU Gambit. He said that if he only listed one thing, it would be wild misogynistic. But now that he's done, I said no. Now this is just tame misogynistic.
Okay.
Oh
But I okay. So I'm not saying anything one way or the other. Sorry,
I wouldn't go
GSU. If
even
you're
deep.
talking, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no. She even said so first off, she told the police that she had car trouble. And she was like, yeah, I kind of lied and I just overslept. Then she was like, I told him that Kobe made me stay in the room and wash my face or some shit. Well, he didn't make me stay in the room. He didn't make me wash my face. Like she was recanting almost everything.
No, she
Like-
recanted two things in that. I read that too. She recanted two things.
But you don't think that's so all right. I know
So
what you're
I'm
gonna
gonna-
go to, so I'm gonna try to hedge already. I know that sometimes when rape victims go through things, that they sometimes don't have the perfect story because they've been through a traumatic experience, and we should make room for that. But lying about why you didn't go to work, lying about he held me against my will and shit like that is foundational to the case of it being rape. Like,
why she didn't go to work is not foundational. to the
Yeah.
case.
It just further hurts her credibility. But
Yeah, it
yes,
hurts.
the
Okay,
whole-
no, okay. So I would say that, well, you're correct in that rape victims oftentimes make terrible witnesses, right? And I'm not saying one way or the other that he definitely did this, right? Like I just wanted to make the case that like you can have like a person can walk away from a sexual assault like the one that they described and like do normal things afterwards. And I could even see them like the text messages, like with the bragging, I could even see that happening, right? It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try to move past this. And like, oh hey, girlfriends, yeah, I slept with Kobe Bryant, But I'm not saying one way or the other. Okay, it's very clear. Because I don't know. But like I can agree that in terms of like prosecuting him, right? Like even if it did go to court, right, with the evidence that we have available, like that shouldn't have a fine, right? That should be a not guilty. There's no way. You're absolutely right that her credibility was hurt. Like in a court of law, we only have your credibility. It's just like he said, she said situation. All we got to work is your credibility most of the time, right? Maybe we'll get a bit of physical evidence, but like that can just say that they slept together. They both already admit that they slept together. It doesn't mean that like it was a rape, right? So like it has to deal with credibility, and she did not make herself a credible witness at all. So like if you're talking about prosecution, definitely like he's not guilty from like what I'm seeing now that I'm looking at.
So another thing that was gonna happen during
She
the
was
trial
also
that didn't want to happen
schizophrenic.
is they were gonna
What?
bring
What?
in those other dudes. They were gonna bring in them other dudes. Like they knew who the other dudes were. They were gonna bring them in as witnesses. Like that would have got
That
ugly fast.
that'd have been disgusting. Yeah,
That's
well, if
horrible.
it did happen,
Why?
Oh,
Why
but
is that?
to make her
it's
look like a
so
slut.
it's the guys from the same
What?
day.
That's what she was. Like we should be
All
sex
you're
positive.
confirming is
It's okay.
No,
for
this
her to
is
be
this person-
bullshit.
Whoa,
It's her
that goes
credibility.
above and beyond the pale.
Wait, if she had multiple encounters with people of similar socioeconomic status, and it seemed like she targeted him because of his socioeconomic status, it's okay to be like, yeah, she was busting off on everybody. Like that's cool.
I think you could make a legitimate argument for relevance, even if that would be super distasteful. I think you can make that argument. But I do have. Does anybody mind if I make a really, really distasteful joke that doesn't represent me as a person at all?
We got a lot of
Yes.
distasteful people on the panel, so go ahead.
Okay, no, this is bad. Honestly, like when I was reading over the situation, and like in my head, again, rape is terrible. But I imagine, like literally in my head, I imagine like Kobe's hitting from the back, and she's like, "Quit," and he's like, "That word's not in my vocabulary." Mamba mentality.
Yeah, I hate him laughing at this.
I wasn't here for that. I
Yo,
wasn't
stop. No, man. You can't do nothing like that, bro. Bro, this will be recorded and uploaded.
She's got
forever,
responsibilities.
Rape is bad. Let me finish that up. At the end, this rape is bad. Don't do it.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Eagle, Eagle, we need you to cut that out. Take that one out. Yeah, we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think but it's interesting when it comes to like credibility. I think these cases are just so hard to prosecute, right? Like
For sure, yeah.
And so oftentimes like these things happen, and like people just like brush it under the rug. Like this is why these things like don't get even publicized, right? Like they say like rape is highly underreported, but like if you're a woman, like how do I prove this thing, right? Like how do I do this? And then once I try to, like the world's gonna collapse on me, right? Even if it's true. So like I don't know the best solution. I don't know the best solution.
Yeah, I don't think there's a good solution.
Look at a pattern of character. So when you have, in the case of Kobe, no one else came out. It was just her. There could have been a string of women coming out at that point. Didn't happen. In a very high profile case. But then you got situations like Bill Cosby, where women throughout the decades are saying these things. Comedians on stage are saying these things. Harvey Weinstein, many people are saying these things. So when you have a pattern, Kevin Spacey, like there are people that have a pattern, people that don't have a pattern. So when there's nobody else coming out, it seems more like a railroading, and you may be willing to give a reasonable benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say this, like for sure, Prime. That's like I have a tremendous amount of female friends, and I find it very like unnerving having a daughter, and like almost all of my female friends I know admit to at least being sexually abused, if not sexually assaulted. So I agree that like there seems to be like tremendous unreporting of rape. And I think the way that we get people to be more sympathetic is to ignore bitches like this, like bitches that are obviously lying. Like that's what we do. Like that's how we make the world a better place. And like we tell women, hey, we don't victim blame, but we tell women, hey, we want you to go to the police as soon as possible, right? Because like you said, the evidence that you'd have in these cases is always extremely low. right? So credibility and what you can grab are the most important things to help these problems. So those are the things that I think we should focus on. It's definitely an unfortunate situation for anybody to be in that circumstance, but I don't think that we can change our legal process to like I don't like legally this is like a tough thing, right? And that's why we should be sympathetic to like people who do come forward and say, hey, I have an allegation. But if they're like obviously lying and smashing off on everybody, like it's like, bro, like no.
You give them the reasonable doubt that comes in with it. But when it comes down to character and you weigh everything against everything, you are taking the person's allegation into account. Everything was investigated. So if we were saying they're just sweeping it under the rug, well, there'd be no investigation. We wouldn't have all the information we have right now. So in this case, you can't prove Kobe to be guilty, even if this may have been his one impropriety, which is entirely possible. He may have skated by on this. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but from the information we have, that seems highly unlikely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is something we should definitely leave to the criminal justice system. I feel like people should be proven, kept innocent until proven guilty. I think that's a core concept to our democracy, and I feel like that's healthy to talk about in certain cases like this where we have very limited evidence, and the evidence we do have point to, a guilty charge being very criminal justicely unviable. I think that's a broader issue, is that we need to treat cases, especially in cases with sexual assault, where I think people should be definitely held innocent until proven guilty by the court of law.
Legally,
Can
that's
we
not
get F's in the
socially,
chat for Bill Murray? Can we please get F's in the chat?
Social
for Bill
court doesn't
Murray?
matter.
No, but I'm saying that's the only thing people care about. Like, well, I guess people care about legal stuff too, but I'm just saying that, like, socially, we can have opinions about, again, and I'm just saying that it was a little suspect. I never even made a definitive claim about Kobe. Like I said, I was like, if he did, he's probably a worse person than MJ. But I'm just saying, socially, we can make these arguments.
I'm making an appeal to that. I think we should focus on the criminal investigation, and if he's proven not guilty by the criminal court, I think we should take that and run with it. I obviously know the criminal justice system is highly flawed, and the outcomes of criminal justice cases can be definitely misleading. But I think that's something we should point to as a society and as a democracy, is our criminal justice system to prove these things right or wrong.
George Zimmerman still walking the streets, so
Right.
The criminal justice system was not my final say so on that one.
Because the law was in his favor, right?
That's
Not
what I'm saying.
really.
There's
No.
different.
The law wasn't in his favor at all.
The stand your ground law?
The
stand your ground law?
You can't chase somebody and then
Yeah.
stand your ground.
Even standard ground.
Oh,
I'm not.
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
remember.
I
remember it at the
his argument is total bullshit. But I mean, he was proven, and obviously we all know he killed
It's not that
Trayvon
he
Martin.
was proven not guilty. Like
He murdered
Trayvon.
we all know he murdered Trayvon Martin.
But look,
It's a matter of
your
justification.
Gosh, your verbiage matters. It wasn't that he was
doing
proven not
this.
guilty. It's a jury of his fucking peers were like, you know what? We would have killed this motherfucker too. Like, that's what that was. That's how they felt about Trayvon Martin.
Did he go to trial?
how they felt.
I thought like.
Yeah,
it went to
did.
trial.
it was the
okay.
standard. It was the
jury.
trial.
It was your
Okay.
standard.
I'm sorry. I
standard
forgot.
ground law.
It's been a long time ago. I was asking.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
asking.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, but yeah, you can
Well,
definitely. Sorry,
We're moving past. Oh, go ahead. You just say it.
Oh no, we can move past it. It wasn't
Okay. It's just like
Oh,
I got a
thank
lot
you.
of sympathy for you. It's actually scary, the idea of raising a daughter. Like I have
Sure.
these. Everything you just said is what I felt like talking to women, like when they open up to you about their experiences. It's like, well, fuck. Like I don't know, what would I do for my little girl? Like what is the
Yes.
world that I'm sending her into? That's just terrifying.
100%. 100%.
That's why the answer is always gay son.
But you have to look at it the other way. It goes
Oh,
both
what?
ways. What if your little
Sir.
girl went out
Sir,
and did
what?
something she wasn't proud of and then lied about it and said that somebody did something to her because she didn't want to face the consequences?
Hold on, say that again now. What
I'm
would I
saying,
do
what
if
if-
that happened?
Yes.
I definitely encourage her not to lie, for sure.
Well, I'm saying you didn't know. So you're on the
Oh.
war path for your daughter.
Oh,
As
for sure,
America's
yeah.
on the war path for these women. But then
Sure.
it comes out in the end that this man's entire life was ruined and she was lying.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't convince me otherwise if it was my daughter.
Exactly the point.
Unless she told
Exactly.
me. Like
Thank you, Ben.
unless she verbally told me, like if my daughter told me, like, no, this happened to me. Honestly, like it could
Yeah,
you could put it on tape like R. Kelly, and then like I'll be like, there's got to be more context, baby. Tell me what happened? Like just being honest with you. But
Yeah,
that's the
for
reason
sure.
why we don't like have. That's why we don't have
Absolutely.
like
And
revenge
that's
court.
and
We
that's how
understand
it
biases.
should be. That's how it should be, right? And I don't think a lot of people like think that people are insensitive, right? Like if it's somebody that you know, you should be riding for them if they've not given you any indication that they're lying. But understand the people that aren't close to them might be skeptical, and that doesn't make them misogynistic or hateful or like like crazy. Like, but that's just the reality, right? Once you remove that emotional connection, like I've never had one of my female friends come to me and I'm like trying to validate, like, oh, what did you say you did? Like, I'm like empathetic and like we talk about it, blah blah blah, right? And that's how friends and family and people you close with should be. But to the world, you're a random person, and they might hear the story and think about it differently and be skeptical. That doesn't make that person hateful or anything. And the problem that it's going to be hard to solve these also don't move me to where I'm just going to allow innocent people to go down unjustly either. So I understand it's a completely fucked situation.
Yeah.
And I say this as a person with a daughter, raising my daughter in this stupid ass world right now. So like
Just-
I'm extremely sympathetic to anybody in these situations.
You're pouring aisle.
I
You're
hear
pouring
you
aisle to jazz.
on the daughter. Oh, sorry. On the closeness thing, right? Like you're close, and you're gonna give more of a benefit of doubt, but when you're not, you can be more skeptical, and that doesn't mean necessarily you're a misogynist. That's absolutely the case. I think the problem is that like, like there's a lot of the loudest people are the most misogynist people, right? And that's generally what you're pushing back. Like you're getting like a ton of death threats, right? You are getting harassment on all levels. And so like when people are responding to that, they lash out and talk about like, yeah, there's a lot of misogyny on that case, right? And I think like if you are that person who's being skeptical, then you shouldn't be worried about it. If you're just being skeptical, then they're not talking about you. If you're not the type of person who would like harass a woman over these things, right? Then don't worry about it. Don't get caught up in your feelings. And I'm not saying that you were, but like yeah. I think that's also part of like the audiences or the public's responsibility as well. Don't be an asshole, then we ain't talking about you. It's not that big of a deal.
I don't know if you just said the final word on this, but especially in a time like today where these sort of allegations can be a detriment on your entire career, your entire livelihood, your entire income. Like these allegations can these allegations could be super detrimental to people. So I think we absolutely should be critical of the people alleging these type of things. I think that's totally valid in being critical of the woman who
because too much at risk.
Exactly.
People make.
I don't take. I believe the core fact that people lie about dumb shit. So what makes me think that you wouldn't lie about something bigger when you have a strategic advantage into why you would lie? Okay, that's where I'm at with it in general. Like I don't believe allegations of anything in general unless I've seen it. Most things in general, I don't take the allegations at face value. I kind of look at the person and I kind of look into things a bit more. Like I'll have the conversation. No, so listen, I have the conversation with you. Like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what happened. But I'm going to be internally like figuring out like whether or not this person is a reputable source, and I'm talking about strangers. I'm not talking about people I know, because people I know, I'm pretty sure they're credible people in my life. I trust you. Other people, strangers, I'm like, I don't even know you. Like you could be the same person that could stab me in the back of an elevator. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't trust you.
Yeah. I
Which is why
think
my back is always up
needs
against the wall in the elevator.
Somebody needs to take the batteries out of Bam. I won't even mention what he just did.
I'm not even gonna look at it.
I can't look at it because I'm on stream, but like from the description,
definitely don't look at it on stream.
No, from what it sounds like something I've seen plenty of times before. And I know you're shocked about it.